Sometimes buying yarn online can be a little bit tricky. Probably you're on the same hook as me. Hi there! My name is Alona, this is my knitting podcast, and today we are going to talk about my finished objects and my works in progress. I have only one finished object to share with you today and 3 works in progress, so I think that we are going to talk a lot about works in progress, and let's celebrate that we have not only finished objects, but we have a lot of stuff going on in our life, and it's okay to have only one finished object or don't have them at all. So let's dive into our finished object. My first and the only one finished object this time is this Genie top by Milena Paulina, and this is my final summer knits. It looks a little bit strange on camera, probably. This is a top. There's my hair. Okay, this happens. So this is a bottom-up top with interesting construction. You have this kind of keyhole neckline from the front and on the back. And you have these I-cord ties to tie your neckline. You can have it a little bit tighter and tie it a little bit tighter on your neck, or you can leave it a little bit looser. You can tie it in front, on the front, for example, on the side to add a little bit of interest. So, how to knit it? You're starting from the rib. You're casting on with Italian cast on some amount of stitches. I wanna confess, I hate casting on Italian cast on with line and with anything other than wool. Really, it's a disaster for me. So you're casting on for the rib, knitting several rounds of rib, and then you're just knitting in the round a lot of stockinette. So it's kind of like easy and enjoyable project to do. Then you're splitting into 4 parts and working on shaping the front part, each of the front parts separately with cat. My cat is doing something crazy as usual for each our podcast. So you're shaping armholes, and you're shaping a little bit of the neckline over here. And you're doing the same for each of the parts. You're finishing your front and back panels with this part. How does it called correctly? I'm missing like the part where you can add your I-cord ties. So you are knitting several rounds, you're purling one round, then you're knitting several rounds once again, and you're knitting together your stitches, so you can get this kind of like a, not a hole, but like a tunnel, let's call it like that. And you're doing this for all of them. Then you're knitting a lone I-cord tube, I think we can call it. And then you're knitting a lone I-cord, then that you can tie your top. I've used here one of my favorite DK weight summer yarn. This is Sandnes Garn Line. It's drapey, it's super light, super, I can't say cozy, but nice to wear during summer days. The only thing that it can be a little bit unpleasant to knit sometimes. But I think that probably Sandnes Garn Line is one of the nicest summer yarns in DK weight, because I hate drop spell. But you can knit this top with drop spell. I know that it's not so terrible for other people other than me. I will add additional photos of me wearing it, and yes, you can see your bra straps when you're wearing this top. I think even if you try to cross your bra straps on the back, but you can wear it without bra if you're okay sensory-wise, or if you're not okay, as I don't like feel of yarn on my bare breasts, so usually I try to wear my bra, but I think it's okay to have bra straps over here, especially a nice one, Oenling color of this top. I know that the designer, which is Milena, Paulina, she wore her black version with black bra, and it looks cool. So I think that this shouldn't be a big problem, and you can use this top like in a week or 2 weeks. So highly recommend. The only one note that if you feel that you got rowing out over here for knitting flat after knitting in the round, I highly recommend you switching your needle which you use for purling to a smaller one. I did it here, so I knitted the whole part in the round with 4mm, I think 4 or 4.5mm needles. It was 4.5, I think, because usually I have to size up needle size with Milena's patterns. And then when I switched to knitting flat, I started knitting purl rows with a smaller needle, and it really helped with rowing out. As you can see, the fabric looks pretty even for each for the flat parts and for the parts in the round. So this is definitely a win situation. Especially it's easy to do if you have interchangeable needles, because you can have one bigger needle and one smaller needle on the same cord, or you can just go with 2 needles if it won't bother you. And what else I can add? I think that this top is definitely should be on your needles for the next summer. Probably it's a little bit too late for this fall, because it's already getting cooler, but if you're looking for something interesting and unusual, this is your go-to solution. And now let's switch to my work in progress, because we have a lot of new stuff over here. Previous time I mentioned, and in my plans I mentioned that I'm working on some stuff, so let's see them. One of them is Maggie Vest. I want to try to put it over here, but you can hear my needles. And over here I'm knitting as well with 4mm needles, 4mm needle tip for wrong side and 4.5mm needles for the right side, just to get, like this beautiful and even stockinette. I don't know if you can see it from this angle and from this distance, but it's okay. So this is a Maggie Vest by PetiteKnit. I don't want to count it as a summer garment because I'm knitting it with LAMANA Cashmere, LAMANA Cashmere in this beautiful gray color. This is 70% wool, 30% cashmere. Definitely not a summer yarn for the place where I live. This is one of the newest PetiteKnit patterns. I think that it has some similar vibes of Poppy Tea, which was quite popular previous year, and still it's quite popular this year. Then she released, I think it's the beginning of this summer, her Maggie cardigan, and this is a Maggie Vest with very similar construction, where you have this, I think it's called like English tailored shoulder or something like that. And you have this beautiful, the most beautiful part on the shoulder. You have this kind of like seam line on the shoulder. Then your casting on stitches over here for your back. Then you're increasing each round, each row. No, you're not knitting in the round, so each row to get this beautiful line. Then you're knitting sometime flat without any increases, and then you're increasing for the armhole. Break the yarn. Then you're picking up stitches for your shoulder. I'm feeling a little bit awkward over here. You're casting on stitches for your shoulder over here, knitting some amount of stitches. You are decreasing a little bit for your shoulder over here, because like to get a nice shape you need to decrease a little bit over here, and then you're starting increasing for your neck. This vest will be with mock neck, so you're increasing a little bit and then you're casting on a lot of stitches. Then you're knitting several rows just flat without any increases, and you're increasing once again for the armhole, and then you're repeating the same flow with another front yoke, and then you're joining everything under the armhole and just knitting front and back, and just knitting forth and back. I have knitted quite a lot. I think that I need, according to the pattern, I need around 5 or 6 more centimeters in stockinette, and then I will start knitting my 1x1 rib. I'm knitting size 2 from PetiteKnit's pattern. This is size XS, I think, because right now her pattern starts from XXS, so it's kind of nice. I like to knit not the smallest size, and to know that there are a lot of people smaller than me and they can have appropriate size, because before it was quite hard with PetiteKnit patterns. You had to knit only with huge positive ease if you're a small and tiny lady. And after finishing all the body, you can switch to armholes, but I decided to go with armholes before because I like how this looks. And you have a little bit of something. I can't add neckline before I will knit button bands. I can knit button bands before I finish the whole body, so I decided to knit at least armholes. Armholes knitted with 1x1 rib. Quite simple, quite easy. You're just picking up stitches, knitting several rounds of 1x1 rib, then doing two rounds of double knitting, and finishing with Italian cast-off. I get a feeling that my Italian cast-off is a little bit too tight over here, but I hope that blocking will fix it. And I've done some modifications over here, because I saw in a lot of pictures that the armhole is quite deep, and I want to wear it just with my bra without anything underneath from time to time, and I don't want to have too deep armhole over here. So I decided to took 2 centimeters from back and 2 centimeters from front, when you're just knitting flat without any increases, to raise a little bit the armhole. I think it resulted quite fine, but we'll see in the finished object how it will look like. Right now I enjoy working with it, and but you know, it feels like endless stockinette flat, because you can't knit as fast as you are knitting in the round, and I have this stitch marker to mark where my progress, that I'm not staying at the same place and I'm moving forward. I hope to finish it rather sooner than later, because I want to get a little bit of time to wear it with my jacket without something underneath, but then I will be happily wearing it with something underneath. And this yarn was kindly gifted to me by the brand. I wanted to try it, and it's kind of hard to find where I live. This is soft, very soft. It feels like cashmere, but I think that this yarn is a little bit cheaper than Cardiff cashmere, for example, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that this grey color will suit like literally every look. Next, my work in progress, living in my PetiteKnit bag, which has a lot of cat fur on it. Really, I don't know why, but you're getting tons of cat's hair on that one, and inside it's full with more hair. The next one is a test knit. The yarn for this test knit was kindly gifted by Oenling. I'm knitting it with Oenling number 20. This is their fingering weight wool, slightly rustic, just slightly, and their, of of course, mohair. This is Oenling number 10 silk mohair with 70% mohair and 30% silk. It can be a little bit itchy. For those with sensitive skin, I would recommend trying it first before buying a whole sweater quantity, because it can be a little bit itchy. And look what we have here. Switching. Camera don't like this color. I'm absolutely sure, because I've tried to take several photos for my Instagram account, and it was challenging to get the right shade of violet or purple. You know, it's folly, it's color of grape, maybe color of mulled wine, literally fall for me. And it's a full cabled vest, and I think that I'm in love with it, honestly. I think that right now it looks quite nice on me. I will add a photo trying it on, and I'm a little bit afraid of blocking it, because I know that it will grow widthwise, so I'll try to help this vest to grow a little bit more lengthwise and less widthwise, because I don't want to have too big vest on my shoulders, because I'm a little bit insecure about them. But I find that this construction looks much better on me than my Ingrid vest. It's almost not mine anymore, but still. How you can knit this one? You are casting on stitches for the back, knitting with this beautiful cable pattern for some time. Then what do? Of course, you're increasing for the armholes. And what I like in this pattern is that you have this traveling cable. I don't know if you can see. Like, you have a traveling cable over here, so under your armhole you will have a cable, and then your cables going from that cable. I think it looks quite nice. And you're breaking your yarn. You're picking up stitches once again. As usual, you're picking up stitches over here for your shoulders, knitting for your shoulder, then you're increasing a little bit over here again with traveling cable for your neck, and breaking your yarn, doing the same for another side, picking up stitches, knitting, forming your neckline, then you're joining two front yokes, like shoulders. To get your front yoke, you're casting on stitches over here for your neckline, knitting a little bit flat without any increases, then you're forming once again your armholes, again with a traveling cable, and then you're joining in the round and casting on several stitches underarm, and you continue knitting these beautiful cable repeat. I don't remember exactly how much rounds you need for one cable repeat, but this cable is only two crossing 4 stitches, 2 and 2, so you can knit it without cable needle, and if you're knitting it without cable needle, it's literally flying off the needles. Then I decided to take a pose from the body and knit armholes, both of them, and neckline. I think that neckline is so squishy. This is 2x2 rib. This is a folded neckline, and just simple 2x2 rib armholes, which you're finishing with. I think that in pattern, as this pattern is still in testing, so something may change, because Milena is trying out right now different ways of binding off hem and armholes. Probably she'll suggest having over here Italian bind off, but we'll see what will be in the end. But I have bind off in the pattern, and I like how it looks. For me, it looks quite nice, and I think that I'm happy with quite big armholes for this vest, because I can put a lot of stuff, I can put a lot of underneath, and it won't look strange. For example, if you want to wear it with a dress with a little bit puffer sleeves, you need a little bit more space over here. And that's, I think, pretty much it about this pattern. I'm going to add one change to that pattern. I agreed it with the designer because it's just neat and you need to agree some changes with the designer. I would like to have a splitted hem. The pattern suggests to have just 2x2 ribbed hem, but I want to split it because I like a nice 2x2 splitted hem. I think that I will add 2 more repeats of the cables over here, 2 or 3. Let me check. 2. I will add 2 more repeats and I will have the same amount of cable repeats as pattern suggests, and then I will add splitted hem in this beautiful dark violet, and it will be so nice. And soon this vest will be finished. I think that probably, definitely not this week because I have a trip, but probably next week this guy will be on a blocking mats. We're switching once again and moving it. By the way, do you wear vests? And how do you find wearing them? Do you know when to wear and how to wear them? I'm curious to hear your feedback about it because I know that not everyone enjoys wearing them because it can be a little bit not so easy to find the appropriate weather. And right now I have my sword. A work in progress with a lot of needles. We have 3 pairs of needles over here. This is my second test knit, and this is my, I think, third test knit for UllenKnitwear. I talked a lot about this sweater during my full plans, that I want to have a big, chunky, oversized sweater with stripes, and this is going to be it. Yeah, I think that we finally got into camera. So this is a big drop shoulder oversized sweater with high neck. I don't have a neck yet. I'm not sure that I want to add a 4th pair of needles, but we'll see. Probably I will do it. Right now what I have, oh my god, what I have here front and back yoke and beginning of the sleeves. I'm gonna try to show you a little bit closer, so you can get a slight marlin effect, because sometimes buying yarn online can be a little bit tricky, and my main color is this BC Garn Semilla Melange and BC Garn Baby Alpaca, and they're a little bit in different shades, slightly different, but this color, as the label stands, Melange, that's why you have a little bit of variation of the yarn, and it looks nice together, especially when it knits up. And the same combination for stripes, but that color, the anthracite color, is quite the same, so there is no marlin in contrast color. As I mentioned before, this is a test knit. The yarn was kindly gifted for this test knit by BC Garn. I'm very happy that I got this opportunity to test knit it. How the processes look like over here. You're casting on stitches for your back. You need quite a lot because this is quite chunky and oversized sweater. And you're forming your back panel with no, it's not German short rows. This is a short rows with yarn overs and turns. It can be a little bit tricky at the very beginning when you do it for the first time, but I did it for my dress. Mamba dress, yes. For my Mamba dress I did the same short rows, and it's the same technique for short rows, and it wasn't too complicated, so you're doing it over here, forming the back line, the back line, and then you're just knitting flat till your back panel will measure some amount of centimeters. Then you are picking up stitches for your front, left and right, knitting a little bit, forming the neckline, doing the same for the other side, joining over here joining in the round, and you're doing exactly the same. So you're getting this kind of like almost rectangle parts. You don't have any shaping over here for the armholes. Maybe it could help a little bit with the feet. Do not have over here a lot of fabric. I know that some patterns incorporate in that, but I think it's not a problem with this specific yarn because it's quite drapey, soft, so it shouldn't be a problem. But I think that probably if you're knitting from Percune to something more rustic, it can be a little bit challenging to have a lot of fabric over here. And then something unusual happens with the pattern, because this is probably the first time that I did it like that, but I know that a lot of UllenKnitwear's pattern working like that. You're picking up stitches for sleeves. You're not joining in the round and knitting some amount of stitches and then picking up for the armhole, for the sleeves. No, you're just doing your sleeves right away after the yoke. You're picking up stitches and starting knitting your sleeves. As this is a striped pattern, striped sweater with quite chunky stripes, I decided that I will just break yarn each time I need to change the color. Usually I like to do, like this kind of twisting the main color and your contrast color, but if you have big stripes it won't work. If you have small stripes it works fine, but over here we'll have a lot of ends to weave in after. And as I have to prick the yarn, I decided to knit first stripe on one hand and then switch to my second sleeve, because I got a feeling that probably one of the reasons why I may be on my sleeve islands is that I don't like picking up stitches, and right now my second sleeve is ready to go as well, so you can just grab it and knit it. While knitting the sleeves, you are decreasing, of course, sleeves, because you want to get a little bit more tapered shape of the sleeve. It will be still chunky and oversized, but not too large, like not a balanced sleeve over here. And all of the edging on this sweater will be 2x2 rib. I think that next, as I have both stripes done, you can see they're quite big, I'm sorry for the noise, I will add another pair of needle. I don't want to put everything on cables, because with cables it's a little bit messy as well. I will add over here the neckline, big, chunky, cozy, oversized neckline, because I think that before you get the neckline, you can't fully understand the length of the sleeves, because it will, like cinch a little bit over here your shoulders, so you probably will need a little bit longer sleeves. I will finish the neckline. Then I think that I will add dark stripe to the body, then add two light stripes for both of the sleeves, and I will work in that manner. Then you're adding a new stripe for each part, like adding a new stripe for body, add a new stripe for sleeves, and work like that. Probably switching between parts of the sweater may help to get it much faster. I'm knitting this sweater on 5mm needles, and with wool I don't have a lot of roving out on such big gauge. It's around, I think, 19 centimeters, 19 stitches per 10 centimeters, so I don't need two different needles, but I have two different needles for sleeves, only because I have only two tips of 5mm metal needles. That's why I have 5 and 4.5mm needles, because you don't need you're knitting only with your main needle, and it's okay to have a smaller one for the opposite needle. I hope it makes sense, right? And I think that's all for my current work in progress. I haven't bought any new yarn, I only got some for test knits, but I'm going to have this weekend my trip to Oslo. Probably I will record something from their yarn shops, and I have some plans what to buy there. I want to buy one of new double Sunday colors from Sandnes Garn. They recently came up with new shades of the double Sunday, and I want to knit a hat, probably a weekend hat with that yarn, because I find that hats that I knitted previous year from double Sunday was quite a success. No, it was this year. It was quite a success in my wardrobe, so I wanted to have another hat with the same yarn but in another shade. I want something bright, probably blue or green. I'm so sad that they don't have that matcha color in double Sunday, only in Pergunt, and I can't wear a hat from the Pergunt, that's definitely. And also, I'm going to find myself a bright red cashmere for the hat. I think that I want to have a bright red cashmere beanie. If you have some pattern suggestions for cashmere beanie, please let me know in the comments below, because I am on the market for something interesting and I'm open for your suggestions. And that was it. Thanks a lot for spending this time with me. I think that this episode was quite short but sweet. And let me know what are you knitting right now. Maybe you're also knitting Maggie Vest or Maggie cardigan. I know that there's even a Maggie Call on Instagram, so probably you're on the same hook as me. Have a nice day and happy knitting! Bye!